First things first, I'd like to find out, have you seen anything like this, a market rally we're seeing now, before? I mean, the context of rallies you've seen in the past.
Well, it's following the same pattern. It starts and it feeds off itself, and everybody's wondering what's happening. But as you know, there have been a lot of things happening in the market, a lot of reforms in the system. There's been a lot of talk about corporate governance and all of that. And now we're getting a lot of good corporate results, particularly from the banking sector. So the earnings results are feeding into all of this. Then we have the market makers. So there's a lot of good news, a lot of good things happening at the same time. And that's what we've seen over the last 4 to 6 weeks. And it's a welcome development.
Where do you see this rally going, Aigboje? I mean, you've been in this market for quite a long time, so I'd love to get your take on where you see this rally going.
Well, I guess that's the million-dollar question, but I think it's going to be sustained. I think that when we see the third quarter results for the banks, that would further fuel the rally. It will not always go up. I suspect that there will be days where the market goes down because profit takers step in to take profits, but I think the market, the trend is upwards for the foreseeable future.
Now, Aigboje, I mean, the truth is our local investors aren't even fully yet in the market. This NSE CEO announced, about 80-something% of our market is foreign investors. What are your thoughts on those local investors, retail and corporate, regaining confidence and coming back into the market?
Well, I think that is beginning to happen because the 80% mark, I think that was for about maybe a month ago. I think the recent statistics show that the local investors are now about 30% of the market, so they've gone up about 10%. And yesterday, I was at a conference where the PFAs, Bancorp was there, and they were saying the PFAs are looking at increasing their holdings of equities from about 10%, closer to the 25% maximum that they're allowed. So the local investors are starting to engage. They're looking at the papers, they're looking at the press, looking at TV, and they're coming in. And as a stockbroker, I can tell you that we're getting a lot more orders. There's a lot more activity. So you're going to see over the next few days, few weeks, a lot more local investors engaging with the market.
Well, Aigboje, like you said, a lot of the changes that are going on in terms of governance is what's pushing the market forward. And certainly this market making program is one of them. Now, you're one of the market makers, your company is. And I do know that you look at you're taking your market making in stocks such as Access, Presco, and PZ Cussons. Now, as a market maker so far, how has what's the progress? How has this whole program played out? Are you 100% satisfied?
Look. It's a rollout program. We've said that we're not going to do everything at once. We're going to take it step by step. So the companies are being rolled out one every 2 weeks. All I can say that in less than a month, it's been very good. The signs for the future are nice and good and bright. And it's early days yet, but it's good. And I think it's had a very positive impact on the market. And as we go on and as it deepens and as we get experience and build momentum, then I guess it will have even a bigger effect on the market. But so far, so good.
Well, let's turn our attention to actually what's going on in the market. Now, we do know Dangote Flour released their Q2 results weaker than expected. And the truth is most investors were kind of expecting good results coming out of companies. Now, we saw sales down 18% year on year. What is your take on those results? And certainly what we're going to see across the food and beverage sector and consumer goods sector going forward?
Well, what's going to happen is that it's going to, vary from company to company. But I think overall, you're going to see most companies doing a lot better than they had done in the past. For some of them, they're beginning to see the gains of improved power. Some of them tell us that, they're saving millions of naira every month from, the cost of diesel. So all of that will feed into the results. There'll be a few disappointing results. Like you said, Dangote Flour weaker than expected, but overall, I think the majority of stocks in that sector should do well going forward.
And certainly in the banking sector, Diamond Bank sort of leading there with great results. What is your outlook for the market as we move into next week, Aigboje? Do you expect to continue to see this strong rally going forward and maybe even us hitting that 28,000 mark?
It's not impossible, but I won't be surprised if we see a bit of profit taking to slow, to cool things off. And I'm not sure that's a bad thing, because while it's good for the market, to keep going up, you want it to go up in a measured way, so that we don't have a situation where it's runs up and then runs down. So I like the way it's going. It's a more measured tick, and it's good. But for next week, there might be a bit of profit taking early in the week, but I think it will, the market will close strong by the end of next week. Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on, the economic fundamentals? In sort of affecting investor sentiment going forward. We do know that inflation numbers are coming out on Monday. Of course, most people, consensus is we're going to see those numbers trending downwards, continuing to trend downwards. So what are your thoughts on the economic fundamentals and how, going forward, they're going to play in the market?
Well, they'll be positive because you talk about inflation. If inflation, remains even flat or comes down, that's good for the market. If you look at the foreign exchange market, the naira has appreciated against the dollar, and that's good. As long as there's positive economic news, is good for the market. Let me just say that. So it helps people, it builds confidence. People can invest, and they're not afraid of their investments being eroded by inflation and so on. So positive economic news is good for the market.